Super J and Mad Mike welcome you guys to another kick-ass video, as always, on our Wrestle Cave YouTube channel. As always, we're trying to bring you guys the coolest original videos that we can do, and this time we're bringing to you another era of professional wrestling. This time, the first time around when they had the brand extension from the years 2002 through 2013, this time on the Smackdown brand. And let's start it out. We're going to give you guys a little lowdown of what we're dealing with here. It was right after WCW was bought out by Vince McMahon in early 2001. They had a surplus of talent. And what happened was they decided to split WWE into two brands, Raw and SmackDown. And this is a SmackDown brand for many years. We're going to start out. We've got Trent Beretta. This was a guy that was on the SmackDown brand in 2011 area of time. And he was just a jobber type wrestler. But he did have potential, and now he wrestles in Ring of Honor. But now we've got William Regal. Lord Steven Regal, he was known as in WCW when he made his name. But when he went to WWF, he was commissioner of the WWF in 2001. He was general manager of Monday Night Raw in 2008. He was even a European champion, King of the Ring. He did a lot of great stuff. He's even the general manager of NXT right now. Now we've got Great Khali, the great Indian giant from India. He won the World Heavyweight title in 2007. He had many injuries over his years, but he was nonetheless one of the giant big men of WWE over the years. Next to him, we've got a Russian named Vladimir Kozlov. He was in the WWE on the SmackDown brand in 2007, 2008. And he wrestled for the world title, never won it. But he ended up going to Raw and ended up winning the tag team titles with Santino Marella. But next to him, we've got one of the pillars of WWE history. We've got The Undertaker. We've got the Dead Man, the Phenom, live and in person there. We like to put our Undertakers in the back, so he's a constant for most of these WWE shelves over generations. So we like to put him and spotlight him in the back because he's like, the big dog. He's the original big dog, and this is his yard, the WWE. But right next to him, we've got Wade Barrett, a man that's formed the Nexus back in 2010, and it was on the Raw brand, but he ended up wrestling for SmackDown for a few years. And an Intercontinental Champion. He was always also Tag Team Champion. He ended up wrestling for the World title, but never won it. Next to him, we've got Batista there in a blue type outfit. Pretty cool with all his tattoos. Batista was one of the trademarks of SmackDown. He got drafted there in 2005, brought the World Heavyweight Championship with him to the SmackDown brand, and he was a mainstay on SmackDown for many years. Right above him, we've got Chris Jericho there. Y2J. He came back with a short hair to Raw back in 2007 after a few-year hiatus, but ended up going back to SmackDown, I believe, in late 2009, 2010, and just a great performer. Still going today, Y2J. Next to him, we've got the gold standard, Shelton Benjamin himself. This guy was maybe the greatest athlete in the WWE at the time. He was a collegiate wrestler that ended up coming to WWE. He started out as part of the world's greatest tag team. Kurt Angle was, the head of their little group, and Kurt Angle, and then Charlie Haas, and then Shelton Benjamin. But former tag team champion, Intercontinental champion, U.S. champion, just a great athlete. Next to him, we've got Daniel Bryan, a guy that, really, overexceeded any expectations I had ever had for the man. He started out with the Nexus, ended up getting fired by WWE, and then ended up coming back, having a decent career. He changed his look, having the long beard and the hair. He ended up becoming world champion. He also ended up becoming WWE champion. Main event of WrestleMania 30, and won the WWE World Heavyweight title that night. Just an unbelievable performer. Now, he's hurt, and he's the general manager of WWE Smackdown Live. Next to him, we've got Chavo Guerrero Jr. He's obviously pushing the wheelchair with Vicky Guerrero. Just, a great time in SmackDown history. Edge was actually going to get married to Vicky Guerrero, and Edge was using Vicky because Vicky was the general manager of SmackDown, and Edge was kind of using her, but showing her love, and, Edge was her lover, and it was just a funny comedy skit, for many years, for a few years there on SmackDown. But I always thought it was great what, happened after Eddie died, just that WWE kept, Eddie's family working, and Vicky still had a career in WWE, and that was great to see. Next to him, we've got Booker T. Now, this is not, his King Booker outfit, which we're still waiting to get the figure on. Target and the Hall of Fame series are going to be producing that in 2017. But Booker T was a former tag team champion in the early days of SmackDown with RVD in 2004. At WrestleMania 20, they wrestled for the tag team titles and retained their titles. They walked in champions and walked out. Next to him, we've got to show off Dolph Ziggler. One of the greatest pound-for-pound wrestlers in the WWE today and over the last 10 years. He started out on Raw in the Spirit Squad, but he made his name on SmackDown and was a World Heavyweight Champion there twice. And just a great wrestler, still going today, this time on SmackDown Live. Now we've got MVP, Montavious Porter. And MVP was, in my opinion, I thought he was a great talent. He came in, he was a big guy, had the look, and had the strength, and had the ability in the ring. He never really reached his potential, though. He was former United States champion, tag team champion, but never won the world title. Right above him, we've got Alberto Del Rio. As you guys know, if you're fans over the last 5 or 6 years, Alberto Del Rio jumped on the scene after a career in Mexico. He jumped onto the scene and won the World Heavyweight title shortly after WrestleMania 27, and wrestled off and on for the WWE title and World Heavyweight title over the next few years. He now has left the WWE for the second time here at the end of 2016, and we don't know if he'll be back, but I thought he was a great talent on SmackDown. But Carlito is right next to him. Carlito was another guy that I thought was a great in-ring worker, and I never thought he could have been world champion, but I thought he was a great Intercontinental champion and a United States champion, and a great worker in the ring for a few years there on SmackDown Live. Next to him, we've got Eddie Guerrero. After he was Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero was a mainstay on SmackDown and was a United States champion. He was also WWE champion. He won it at No Way Out 2004 and even defended it against Kurt Angle and retained it at WrestleMania 20. Eddie Guerrero, just a great talent all the way up until his death in late 2005. R.I.P. Rest in peace, Eddie. Next to Edge, as you guys have already seen, is Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar here is in his debut attire. He's got his black tights. He's also got Here Comes the Pain t-shirt with the original Brock logo there, which is pretty cool. Brock Lesnar, when he came in, Vince gave him the WWE on a silver platter, man. And, Brock Lesnar was, along with The Undertaker, the main attraction on SmackDown. And Brock Lesnar didn't disappoint, man. If you watch any of his old matches on the WWE Network from 2002 and 2003 and early 2004 on SmackDown, he was, the man, along with The Undertaker on SmackDown. But next to him, we've got Rey Mysterio, a guy that debuted on SmackDown in 2002, shortly winning the Cruiserweight title within the year. He ended up winning the World Heavyweight... he ended up winning the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 22 after winning the Royal Rumble a couple months earlier in honor of Eddie Guerrero, who shortly had just passed away before the Rumble. But Eddie Guerrero, was it fate or was Eddie on his side? But Rey Mysterio had a hell of a run on SmackDown as World Heavyweight Champion, and he no longer wrestles with the company, but he may be back someday. One of the greatest luchadors and cruiserweights of all time. Next to him, we've got Sheamus, a guy that I always enjoyed watching. I always thought Sheamus was a great worker, a big man. Ended up winning the WWE title just within 6 months of being in the company. And as you know, Sheamus is a big ass kicker and several time WWE champion and World Heavyweight champion. And now he's a current heavy tag team champion on Raw, along with Cesaro. But right ahead of Sheamus, we have The Miz and John Morrison. The Miz and Morrison were tag team champions on SmackDown there. And they even had their own little TV show called The Dirt Sheet where they'd make fun of some of the WWE stuff. But I always enjoyed Miz and Morrison. Got this brand new SmackDown Tag Team title that they made back in 2010 for Mattel. The only time they produced it and released it was with an Elite Big Show. And we were able to pick this SmackDown title up in another month or two. We're going to have the other matching title, and we're going to make a cool video and put it up here for you guys. Next to The Miz and Morrison, we've got Finlay, a mainstay on SmackDown for a few years, who was actually a trainer in WWE after leaving WCW, and they gave him a gimmick with a little leprechaun named Hornswoggle. A little man who was would always come out of the bottom of the ring with this mallet and hit people or throw it to Finley so Finley could knock people out. A shillelagh, it was called. But I always liked Finley and Hornswoggle. I thought it was just, great characters. But, Mad Mike, I want you to slide all the way down to Melina if you could. Because Melina was one of the divas for many years on SmackDown. She started out as the manager of Eminem, John Morrison, and Johnny Nitro. But right next to her, we have the Doctor of Thugonomics, the original John Cena. After John Cena burst onto the scene on SmackDown after getting an opportunity, he ended up finding his way with this gimmick as a white rapper, just shortly after Eminem had his big stardom, 20 years ago. But John Cena here is dressed up in his WrestleMania 20 attire when he won the U.S. title, and he turned it into the spinner belt, which you see him wear right there. Right next to him, we have JBL, who was the longest reigning WWE champion between 1995 and 2011. So, JBL, a guy that was started out as a tag team champion along with APA, ended up becoming WWE champion and, becoming a great worker, had a great run, almost a 1 year, 300-day run as champion before losing it to John Cena at WrestleMania 21. If you know, JBL's now an announcer on SmackDown Live, but I always loved JBL. But right next to him, we've got Jeff Hardy. And Jeff Hardy, as you know, started out in the Attitude Era with Matt Hardy as the Hardy Boys. But after Austin and The Rock and everybody had left, Jeff Hardy finally got his shot. And he had his problems with certain addictions in his real life. But he eventually got the title in the end of 2008 at Armageddon 2008. And it was just pretty awesome to finally see Jeff Hardy finally win the title. And everybody was happy to see it. He was only in the WWE another 9 months after winning the title, but he was champion several times on SmackDown, and, just a great performer. After that, we've got the Animal Batista. Batista got drafted to SmackDown after winning the World Heavyweight title on the Raw brand at WrestleMania 21 in 2005. But WWE decided to switch the champion of Raw, the World Heavyweight Champion Batista, and the WWE Champion, which was John Cena, leading SmackDown. They decided to switch those guys in the summer of 2005, and Batista became the man on SmackDown. And for, 3 or 4 years, he was SmackDown, him along with The Undertaker. And I always enjoyed Batista, saw him at a couple WrestleManias, and I was kind of disappointed by the return that Batista had in 2014, but there you have it. Your SmackDown brand, the original SmackDown brand from 2002 to 2013. Just some of the biggest and best superstars of that era. We're bringing to you guys some of the coolest eras of wrestling, some of the coolest promotions in wrestling history. We're showing you guys an action figure form by Mattel. Some of our custom figures as well by a guy named the Mad Scientist. But please check out more videos on the Wrestle Cave. Super J and Mad Mike, along with the Wrestle Dog and the Wrestle Kid, are bringing to you guys the coolest action figure matches on video on YouTube. Also, the coolest action figure unboxings by Mattel. WWE reviews of Raw SmackDowns too. Guys, if you want to be part of something special, just join the Wrestle Cave. Tell us what you guys think about the videos below. Please comment. Also, give us the thumbs up. And please subscribe. I said, if you haven't, you better fucking do it, because we're going live. Wrestle Cave. Peace.